All right. Good morning. Good morning. I'm just trying to figure out how to present my screen. Where is that? It looks a little different. Let's see. Share screen. Share screen. Boom. Boom. There we go. All right. Good morning, my dogs. It is 6:32. It is July 14th. Hope everyone's feeling well and had a great weekend. Have been kind of on the move, but all is well. Can't complain. Just went from just actually was in Spooky Nook for the weekend. Big basketball tournament. Unfortunately, we lost in the chip. For those of you who are wishing well for my son who was playing on the New Jersey Beast, they were 8 for 9 and lost by 3. It happens. Anyway, hopefully everyone's feeling good, enjoying themselves. It's been a really interesting multiple weeks, lots and lots of nice setups. I see everyone talking about crypto now, getting all bullish on crypto now. Where were they, the week before July 4th when Bitcoin was setting up fantastic, when Bitcoin was holding 106 to 109, and I'm like, if it gets above 110, 112, we're going to see a really nice breakout. And we were buying the IBIT calls, Ethereum calls, MSTU calls, and I think everyone on the Alpha team and here in the 630 Club made a lot of money, and I'm very happy for you guys. You guys pressed the keys, so that's awesome. Anyway, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com and founder of Red Dog Mindset. There's still no 28520 yet. I think on Wednesday we're going to start that up again, combined with the 630 Club. And for those of you who have been watching the 630 Club, getting value since 2020, it's pretty much been for free. What you should do is subscribe above so you can continue doing that in the fall. Only $10. I think it's like 30 cents a day. And, I go over pretty much every sector, what's in play, what I'm looking at, where we could get, the active cash flow, what the indices look like, and where the money's going. We've had a ton of really nice setups. And now we have a big week. Now you have the CPI tomorrow. You have the PPI on Wednesday. Feels like, to me, I think it happened during the time when, when you had the Israel-Iran conflict. So I have a feeling the economic reports could be a tiny bit elevated, which, is probably short-term because oil came down and whatnot. But it could create some volatility. So just know what you own and why. As of right now, the SPYs are down $1.90. Not a big deal, 621.66. The low from Friday was 621.50, so we're kind of right there. Then you remember we have last week's low, so the question is, are they going to shake the tree up? I have I have my golf outing this weekend, the Prez golf outing, the 22nd year since my best friend died of leukemia. So basically for 22 years we've been having a golf outing. They've been raising over 6 figures to send kids to camp and to college who have leukemia, because that's what Stephen loved to do. He loved college, which is where I went with him, and he loved camp. So, the foundation can't raise enough money to to cure cancer, but what we could do is we could help give money to families that need money, who have blood-related cancers. So anyway, with that being said, we'll see what happens today. The SPYs are off $1.96, 621.66. For some reason, when I'm at the outing in the afternoon, something always happens with the market. There's always like some kind of crazy volatility. Hopefully it's not the case today, but we'll see. At this point, you're still getting all this tariff talk. It feels like more elevated tariffs versus deals. I think Mexico and Canada was announced, at 30%. So that's what added some pressure. But again, the trend has been strong, ever since really June 23rd, when we held the 21-day, we had a really nice move, lots of nice action. So now the question is, do we hold this 620-ish area, or do they want to see 617, or do we want to test, the prior high in the 21-day again? I'm not so sure. I still have a few too many positions, but a lot of them are working. If you guys remember, I was all over this IBIT. Again, this has been one of my biggest winners this year. It's traded fantastic. Right here, when it crossed that downtrend, there was a huge money trade. Remember the turkey trot. Red Dog was talking about the turkey trot to get to 85,000. Anyway, it was a really nice trade. Most of us were focused on the $62 calls when we were down here on this candle day. I know I said we were going to have a July 4th Bitcoin holiday, and they were a little late. But what was good about that, I was just talking to my friends, is that we thought it would all be over July 4th holiday. So when it didn't happen, but we hung in here, a lot of guys kept their their Friday calls, which was for the Friday that just passed, and then rolled them out to this Friday, so they got to play 2 sets of options, and everyone's making money across the board. So sometimes it happens. Don't get ahead of yourself. Congratulations. But I would be trimming here. Like I would not be getting bullish on buying Bitcoin now. You're a little friggin' late. Hopefully, also during my report, I've been talking for 2 years that I could think you could be buying Bitcoin every single month in a pie chart. Like if you have a midterm, not just trading for a living, you wanted to have that pie chart where you have your asset allocation, where you do certain percentage of equity, certain bonds, certain gold. I was like, you could put Bitcoin in there. And that was probably when it was 60,000. And now we're at 122. But anyway, I would trim and trail to this. Congratulations if you still have it. I'm still in some IBIT. I'm going to trim some. We were talking about Ethereum, playing catch up. That was in here. I have options on. I still have options on. I'm going to probably trim a little bit more. This gap probably gets filled. And I'm also in MSTU, which is the lazy version of Mr., which is going to probably see 1047 or more. So that's how I played it. I'm also in Rum. I don't understand these guys, like why they wouldn't come out with some metrics on Rumble. I still think it's in here. Crypto had a huge move. When this happened, I think that's when they were talking about how they were going to convert some of their balance sheet into Bitcoin. And it's been a long time, or maybe it was here. So hopefully they've been buying some crypto assets, and they'll come out with some news. And Rumble, I still think, has a chance. It hasn't really shown you that, but I'm in some rum and I'm in some options. So that this will be interesting if it could finally wake up. If it doesn't, my stop's down here at 850. So we'll see how that goes. As far as outside of crypto, we've been pretty busy in Amazon. We'll see if it can go red to green today. It's been a little trickier. There's supposed to come out with some AI news that a lot of people were sending me, so we'll see. I would say as long as this holds, I feel like I'm going to have some stops on this week. As long as this holds, what's this low here, 222-ish, I'm going to stay in. If it doesn't hold 222-ish, I'm going to get out. That's easy. I'm going to simplify it. A lot of times it feels like over the course of the past few years, we get a top somewhere around this week. I'm not calling it, but the last thing I want to do is, after closing at the highs of my year, and it's been tricky. I'll tell you, I spoke to a lot of big money people. Some people are flat on the year. Some people are down. A lot of people have been shorting the rally on the way up. They don't have our 8 and 21-day moving average rule, where when you're above the 8 and 21-day, you're long. You don't have an opinion about being short. And look how long the SPY has been above the 8 and 21-day, pretty much since April 24th. You should not have been having short in the brain. You should be looking and opportunistic. But again, people at the 630 Club and the Alpha team are doing fantastic. So congrats to you guys. Anyway, go to the Qs real quick while we're here. Above the 8-day, it held the 21-day here. The question is, are the Qs going to hold 5? Are we going to hold 549, or are they going to shake it up a little bit this week? Remember, XBI gave us a great trade. Right here, we were buying the $86 calls. I sold literally 3/4 of them. And if we come back to 86, maybe, this holds and you could buy a dip. IWM, we caught that too. When it was in here, I'm like, we're going to buy the 215s. We bought the 215s. I thought we can get the 222. Well, went to 226. Now you'll see maybe this morning you could buy a dip if you sold into strength. If you use a tier system, which is what we use on the Alpha team and everywhere across the board, you sell into strength. So this way, you could buy a dip and handle swings. And then if the trade changes, you run for the hills. Some people caught this with me, this UMAC, UMAC. It was a drone named. News out of the administration that they're going to be buying and spending money on drones. We were buying in here. I got down to 25%. This was a much bigger move than I thought it would be. So you know what? Sometimes you can be pleasantly surprised. I'm very small. It's down right now. I'm not sure exactly why, but it's only down. It was up 2 and change. So maybe they came out with the money raise or something, and at the money offering. That's what sometimes these guys do. So we'll see if this could hold 1070-ish. I will be buying some back. Some of the other drone names didn't really go. I don't know why. ACHR didn't really go. I don't know what. I'm still in some. RS. There was another one, RSW, I think, or I don't know what that name was. But anyway, let's move on here. Let me see what some of the comments are. A lot of you guys like to talk to me on YouTube or on Twitter. My dog is. We got RDW. Red Dog hitting the RDW was that was a good one. That's the one. UMAC was great. Any thoughts in UAWS? I think we did talk about support and people bought that. Um, Blair, good morning. Prayers for the flood victims. That is true. Yes, Dash and Microsoft have been big winners. That's crazy what went on in Texas. So sad. Yeah, you were there. Kenneth Rosenberg was playing Bitcoin with us before July 4th. Thomas says good morning. Let's see, Nelvis. Nelvis has had some good ideas. I jumped in Netflix last night after hours last night. I guess you must be trading on Robinhood or whatnot. My system doesn't work in the morning. If I could trade all night, I would never sleep. Some people are like, Red Dog, why don't you trade futures? I'm like, because I'm up at 4:45 and I need to be asleep by 10 o'clock, not trading futures all night. Otherwise, I can't put together 40 charts with actionable plans. I can't spend the entire day with the alpha team trading where they see my positions live, and I can't go to Fox Business, and I can't do it. So I got to know what I can handle. So part of this whole job is knowing what you can handle, knowing what makes you tick, knowing, you don't have to be in everything. Like Bitcoin had a huge move. Everyone's like, you should be in what the hell is that? The stable coin that's around 280, whatever that was. Anyway, Ethereum was in Ethereum, Bitcoin, IBIT, and MST were more than enough. Mike Pag says, awesome call on IBIT. Thank you very much. And then anyway, so Netflix got a little bit of a corrective move, kind of like what happened with a few of these winners from the first half of the year. It went as low as what? Went as low as 1230. No, it didn't get to 1215. 1215 is here. Went as low as what? This low here is 1231. Nothing changed on Netflix. They just sold some winners and money rotated. That happens when you start a new quarter. And that's what happened when they started the third quarter. What's Netflix doing this morning? Netflix, by the way, remember how much money we made in NVIDIA? That was another one. We had a lot of money trades. Netflix is only down 18 cents. I would say you can watch Netflix. If you sold Netflix when it broke its, for the first time broke below a prior low, or broke this ascending channel, here you are down near 1231. I would take a look. I might take a look at it. What am I in as far as Mag 7? I am still in some Amazon. So I'm going to see if it can go from red to green. As I said before, my stop is going to be 222-ish. Hopefully it holds in there. And I'm still on some Google calls. Google acted very well on Friday. There's some news that, with their AI, I don't know exactly what it is. What's Google doing this morning? Google is down $1. What's Amazon? Down $1. Not so bad considering the spies are down, $1.75. Someone from Boca Raton is calling me. Oh, it's my dad. All right, I'll call him back in 10 minutes. Let's see. Hopefully something's not wrong with his flight. I'll call you. My dad was here for the week, by the way. If you saw, he was at the basketball games, hanging out with Chase, having a great time. Call you in 10. Maybe he butt dialed me. Anyway, so with that being said, we'll see if the morning weakness gets absorbed again. Someone's like, Red Dog, you've had so many A plays, so many money plays. Do you have one this week? I don't know. I feel like Oklo, someone asked me this, I tried being in this. This looks pretty good. This is from 73.5, came down, trying to get back above the moving averages. I would think this might be easier to go out a month with options. A lot of people still think that this has room to go. It's come a long way. It's consolidating right now. I think OKLO, NNE, SMR, the nuclear reactor type energy grid plays still have some, could still go. I know SBET. I actually had options on SBET, and I sold the rest of them on Friday. So what's it doing? It's up another 235. I had the $15 calls on those. I sold them for $6. That was a great play too. What am I doing with NVIDIA? NVIDIA, NVIDIA's been fantastic. I don't have a dog named NVIDIA. My dog's name is Phoenix. But NVIDIA made us a hell of a lot of money. If you remember, I was on Spaces 3 weeks ago. We were talking about how it was annoying the hell out of us that it couldn't get above 146, but then it did. We had 146, 150, 152 calls. And then it gave us another setup when it hit the 8-day, and then took out this. Now, it's just a little extended. It's a managed trade. Sometimes it's just a managed trade, and sometimes it's a money trade. Right here, when you had the all-time high area over there, where it was, a year in the making, this was a money trade, right here. Money trade. And then this was an add-on trade. That was a bull flag add-on trade. Now it's like a managed trade. It's like do a little less, but no reason to short it, no reason to get away from it. You know what I'm saying? ASTS is trying to hold this area. A lot of guys made a ton of money. Some of my friends made millions on this thing. I fully gave a great roadmap. I was in it. I could have done a little bit better myself. I didn't make millions on it, but I did well. And it went as high as 54. So now it's trying to rebuild. Some people think this is going to be a $75 stock this year. If this is going to be a $75 stock this year, well, A, it's got to get above 48.32, and B, it's got to get above 54, and we got to see how it goes. And C, it's got to hold 42.44. So if it's going to be a $75 stock, if this, then that. If that, then this. TEM, not looking great. Kind of bear flaggish. This to me is not showing me anything special. Sorry. ON looks headed to next levels. Let's see, what does ON look like according to GP Gary? Yeah, nice looking semi. Has room probably to where it broke down from, which is right around here. This was your spot that as a trader you would want to probably get in right here, or maybe when it did this. So it's in the game. I tried to do SMCI the other day and couldn't get above and stay above 15 change. This is an annoying name. I think I got stopped out. I'm not sure. I don't have it logged in. For some reason, my positions are coming back on. They're not here right here on the virtual trading floor. I would have thought that this could have gotten above it and it didn't. So if it doesn't, it doesn't. So I have options on. RDW thoughts. I would have thought it would have acted better. You know what? It's still up 16 cents. I'm in it. This is has been a focus. So last week, I was focused on UMAC, RDW, and ACHR. So I've been buying this in the $10 range. I was buying this in the 15, 16 range. And I was buying this in like the 880 range. So this I'm down to 20%. This I'm down to 50%. And this I'm in like 70%. So we'll see, how to manage those. Those were great trades. Like UMAC was awesome, on Friday. And thank goodness I sell into some strength. Silver, oh my, hi, whoo! I was not even looking at this, and thank goodness, I don't even know who it was on the Alpha team. Was like, hey, Red Dog, silver looks absolutely fantastic. I was like, really? I'm like, let me take a look. I like to play silver here and there. So I bought silver, calls, and silver, the ETF, on this day. That's the beauty of being a trader, is if you think clearly, that's why I have Red Dog Mindset. If you execute with confidence, that's also why I have Red Dog Mindset, where you should subscribe to it. We do a lot of things. 25-20 every morning. We work out in the sauna and we talk, and whiteboard weekends. And anyway, everyone looks at charts, but not everyone executes and thinks good and wins in the morning. But anyway, this was a nice spot to get in silver. So I didn't have any silver on, and all of a sudden the VTF, someone in the VTF is part of my team, says, hey, silver looks great. It's a guy that I trust. It's been on the VTF for 3 years. I'm like, I'll buy some. Looks great on the chart. And then he's like, well, you might as well buy some gold too. I bought some gold too. Gold was my money trade back here, and then I got away from it somewhere around here. And I'm like, you know what? Gold looks pretty good. I know we actually had it on as a power play. But by the way, power plays are doing fantastic. Like, so many people are coming back to T3 that were part of the Alpha team that was like, hey, I can't spend all day on the Alpha team. I have a job. I love your note. You write a note, but I don't really tell them what to do in the note. It's more than, it's like frame situations, if this, then that. He's like, just tell me what to do, Red Dog. I know you're not always going to be right. I know that, you'll put your best foot forward, which is all I do. And, at least your power play will be a scenario that could work, that's defined, and a lot of them have been working. Anyone who's been in the power plays the last 2 weeks has made money to pay for power plays for a decade. But sometimes there's no really good power plays. It's just the market. So I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to put a bullshit trade out there because I feel like I need to do something. But when things are moving and there's power plays and things are going on, I'm trying to make sure that you guys are in the action. But anyway, so gold, I bought options on this day. It was pretty damn timely. And now where's gold? GLD. Up another $1.34. I'll probably trim some, but chances are at some point, maybe it takes out this 317. IONQ, that I lost some money in IONQ. It broke 44. I got stopped out. It happens. It looked good. Had a nice little bull flag. I played every single time that way. Could have got above 48.30. Could have got above this. Guess what? I got stopped out of $44. It friggin' happens. I don't care about taking a loss. If the trade changes and the reason why I'm in a trade changes, I get out and then I'll revisit. I'm not going to hide under the desk and say, oh, Red Dog's never wrong. That's not true. I'm wrong a lot. But I don't have to lose more by having an ego. If you have an ego in trading, you can get smacked around. That's not what you do. You have a reason for a trade. You have a time frame for a trade. And when the trade goes, you better be able to go with it. And if for some reason you're wrong or it's not ready, then you wait. Same thing happened with IBIT. I'm telling you, people are like, oh, Red Dog, you said July 4th weekend. I'm like, I know, but I'm like, nothing happened here. Nothing changed. You could have been waiting, and we held the 8 day, got really tight, and boom. You look at Bitcoin itself, it didn't even look better because you saw over the weekend and held that 107, 108 the entire time. And the play was when it got above 112 or 108, you add, and now you're almost at 122. What a friggin' awesome trade. Right in here, look how awesome. You don't get a better looking, cup and handle tight. Look how tight this was. And now you better be trimming. Okay. But again, some people go, Red Dog, you were wrong on the day. Okay. But the trade didn't change. Even on this day, okay, never broke. Okay. Held right in there and got firmer. But anyway, it is what it is. Next trade. There's always another trade. And if you're thinking clear and you're moving your feet and you're looking around and you're looking for setups, not looking for tops, and you work on your process, you can make a lot of money in this business. I've been doing it for 30 years. And really, I've seen traders come and go. Most traders leave because they get extended, they get frustrated, they don't have a good morning process, they don't clear their mind, they don't have the right mindset. And once again, that's why I did create Red Dog Mindset, to help you execute with confidence on the X's and O's. Because if you're not thinking clearly, there's no way you're going to push the buttons the right way. Anyway, with that being said, it's 6:54. I've already went over. I'm only at my desk until 11:30. Then I'm heading to Long Island. I'm going to the Prez Golf Outing, year 22. Going to see all my friends from the past. We're going to hoot and holler and give a toast to Steven, who tried to live life. And listen, you never know when your number's going to get called. So you better friggin' like what you do, like who you are, touch base with your friends and family whenever you can, work on your process so you can provide for your family, and smile. I'd much rather see you glass half full versus glass half empty, because that's no way to live life. I'll see you guys later.